Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Illinois Association for College Admissions Counseling Virtual College Exploration for all of Illinois students. A couple of ground rules. There's an area for you to ask questions. There's a button at the bottom and you can type in your question, and these amazing presenters from the University of Oregon will be able to answer those questions for you. Make sure that we already know that your camera and microphone is off, so you're muted and your video is off. Panelists can't see you or hear you, so if you do type questions, they will be anonymous. There will be recordings available for all sessions at www.iacac.org or .org. And there are also a lot of other sessions for you to sign up through with IACAC. So there's a lot of different colleges. There's a lot of other presentations that you can attend. But please, you guys, ask questions, and we will come back at the end if you have more. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you for that. I'm going to get my screen shared here momentarily. That's not right. Bear with me here. In the meantime, we are very excited that you are here joining us. My name is Sarah Goldman, and I am a Chicago-based counselor with the University of Oregon. And joining me are my colleagues from the Lundquist College of Business, Charlie Just, and a Texas-based counselor, Adonis Skinner. And they are here. Charlie's gonna talk a little bit about our College of Business later. And Adonis is here to answer any questions that you might have. So Charlie and Adonis, can you see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up? If you can. Okay, good. Then we are good to go. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Once again, welcome. We are thrilled that you are here. This is going to be a fun overview of the University of Oregon, but what is actually going to make it interesting is your questions. So we want to hear from you. Please feel free to throw questions in the chat at any time, and then we'll do some live Q&A toward the end of the presentation. So to get started, where are we? The city of Eugene is located just about an hour from the Pacific Ocean and just about an hour from the Cascade Mountains. It is a really beautiful part of the country. Being in Illinois, we are used to those awful winters, -30 below. Remember that a couple of years ago? That was terrible. That does not happen in Eugene. It never gets that cold, usually 30s, 40s, sometimes even 50s in the wintertime. Awesome for outdoor sports year round. If you love the snow, again, those mountains are just an hour away. If you are interested in aquatic research or anything like that, again, that ocean is just an hour away. We're about 2 hours from Portland, which is the largest city in the state. Again, Eugene's the second largest city in the state. There's a lot to do. So it really is a great place to go to school and a lovely place to live. The city of Eugene, again, it is a highly walkable city. There's a lot of folks that are going to have bikes. It's routinely named one of the top 10 most bikeable cities in the US. There's a wonderful bike share on campus. It really is a quintessential college town. There's great restaurants, there's great live music, and again, there's just a lot going on. It's a neat place to be. Campus itself is about just under 300 acres, which sounds huge, but I am not a very fast walker, and it only takes me about 20 minutes to walk all the way from one end of campus to the other, if I'm being perfectly honest. I am, again, based in Chicago, but whenever I go to campus, I don't rent a car. I walk anywhere I need to go, or sometimes I'll take the public bus system, which is really quite nice. Campus itself, there's over 5,000 trees on campus. It is a beautifully green and lush place to be, modern facilities, beautiful buildings, and it really is a school where anything is possible. We have just about 19,000 undergraduate students, and they come from all 50 states and over 100 different countries. You can see we are pretty well represented there in the Midwest with a whole bunch of students coming from Illinois. But again, every single class you have on campus, you're gonna have folks that look different from you, that may speak different languages than you, that are coming from different places in the world. And I think that that's a really nice way that UO rounds out your college experience. Research is huge. We are a Tier 1 research university, and about 3/4 of our students are going to engage in academic research before they graduate. This research opportunity gives our students an edge in the marketplace, whether they are applying for graduate school, medical school, law school, or going straight into their first career. And we're a really strong supporter of diversity and inclusion, especially in our research opportunities. So if you're thinking to yourself like, oh, undergraduate research sounds really cool, but I'm not a biologist, we have research opportunities in every single department. And Charlie's going to talk a little bit about some of the research opportunities available in the College of Business later on. We have about 240 different majors, minors, and concentrations in our different programs. And these are spread across our 9 schools and colleges, including our graduate school and law school, which we will get to here in just a moment. To begin with, if you wouldn't mind throwing in the chat if you are interested in studying business specifically. That'll give us a good place to start so we know what the best direction for Charlie to go in later. We are in the top 1% of business schools worldwide. The business program, again, which Charlie will get into later, really teaches critical skills. It focuses on internship programs and real-world experience, and it is accredited in both business and accounting. And then we have our College of Arts and Sciences, which is really the heart of our academic program here at UO. The College of Arts and Sciences houses 40 different programs, some of the most accomplished researchers in the nation, and this houses programs like biology, history, languages, things like that. Then we have our College of Design, which is one of the strongest product design programs in the country. Major brands like Nike and Intel work with our students every year. This is also where you'll find our direct entry 5-year architecture program, and that does require a separate application. So if you have questions about that, throw them in the chat, or you can always reach out to me at a later date. Then we have our College of Education, which is ranked number 5 among public institutions in the US. Almost 1 billion hours of fieldwork is conducted in the College of Education, and we really focus on these engaged real-life experiences in this school. More research dollars go directly to our College of Education than any other school on campus. We really, really believe in cutting-edge education in our College of Education. In our School of Journalism and Communications, you're going to find, again, a real focus on hands-on learning and experiential learning. You'll have access to truly innovative labs and equipment that is updated constantly. And among our alumni, you will find a number of Pulitzer Prize winners and a number of famous alumni as well. In the School of Music and Dance, we really cater to folks that are looking to go into education, looking to become performers, and we've been doing so for more than a century. It is an incredibly supportive community of artists and scholars. This also requires a separate application. They're going to want to get to know you, they're going to want to see you perform, and that's a really fun path to get to know your faculty as you're looking at different programs across the country. Then we have our School of Law. In addition to, of course, the law school, we do offer a legal studies minor to our undergraduate students. We have a 3-3 program for our honor students where you do 3 years at the UO as an undergraduate student and then 3 years of law school, and you will graduate with 2 degrees in just 6 years. And then for folks that enjoy a little bit more of a challenge, we have our Clark Honors Program. It's one of the top 10 public honors colleges in the country, the second oldest in the entire nation. And it offers a small cohort experience. So I think of the Honors College as sort of an extension of an advanced placement or an international baccalaureate course. It's for students who like that a little bit of a smaller setting. They want to work closely with their peers and their faculty members. It's a really neat program. So if you are interested in that, it again requires a separate application, but it is a short process. We're just asking for 1 additional essay, and then we will meet with you to see if that might be a good fit program for you. Anybody who is interested in doing study abroad, we offer over 300 different programs across 80 different countries at this point in time. That list is always growing. And about a quarter of our students are going to study abroad every single year. We offer even a pre-freshman program for the past several years in both London and Hong Kong. So something to think about if you're graduating from high school and you're starting at UO, but you want to start studying abroad that much earlier, that's an option for you here. Speaking of student life, UO, we offer over 300 different clubs and organizations. You might know about us from our athletic program, Go Ducks. We offer 20 Division I sports. We offer 42 club teams as well. And then in the past several years, we've won over 33 national championships across many different programs. So in addition to being a great place to be an athlete, UO is a really nice place to be a fan. I know growing up in Illinois in Big Ten country, it can be kind of impossible to get tickets to Northwestern games or to Iowa games. We really prioritize student fans at UO. So you will get tickets, you will be able to walk to the fields to see the games. I think that that's a really neat thing about going to the UO. All of our first-year students are going to live on campus. We do have a live-on requirement, which means you're going to get to know a lot of people really quickly, and you're going to have a ton of academic support right there on campus with you. We offer 10 different residence halls and 19 different room types. So if you're thinking like all college dorms look the same, they have 2 beds and 2 dressers and you'll have the opportunity for obviously doubles, but then singles or triples or quads, apartment style living. There's really a bunch of different living opportunities. And then we have really great meal plans as well. The food on campus, I'm mildly obsessed with it. Every time I'm on campus, I'm like begging my coworkers if we can eat in different residence halls. There's really, it's a nice living community, I will say that. Of course, you're all probably thinking, great, after college, what happens next? Our university career services are exceptional. It connects your academics to your future careers. We have a ton of companies every year that come to campus and interview our students. They offer our students internships. They hire our students. And then every year again, we're sending students for internships all over the US and many times abroad as well. So, okay, Sarah, I'm excited. I'm going to apply. What does that process look like? So what we're looking for in an application, when we review your application, first and foremost, we are looking at that GPA. But we know there's a lot of different ways to get to a GPA. So if your grades are kind of, doing one of those, that's great. If you were like me and your grades kind of did one of those, that's okay. We're probably going to want to talk a little bit about that because we do look at that grade trend. We're looking at the kinds of classes that you've taken, the course rigor. Did you challenge yourself with honors or AP classes? Or are you the kind of student that was getting A's maybe in all regular classes? We're going to talk about that. We do take a look at that senior schedule. And then we look at what's going on outside the classroom. Have you been involved? Did you have a job? Are you taking care of younger siblings, right? How are you using your time outside the classroom? We are proudly test optional for both admission and scholarship. So if you have test scores and you are proud of those test scores and you feel like they are a good representation of you as a student, go ahead and send them in. If you are like most students in the US and you have not had the opportunity to take the ACT or SAT and you are considering flying to Idaho for a test date that may or may not happen, for the love of goodness, don't. It's not that important. We will review your application with just your transcript, your essays, your letters of recommendation, and we will be thrilled to do so. We do require a personal statement because we want to get to know you. That's normally the part of the application that makes students cringe. I promise you, it is your admission counselor's favorite part of the application because we get to know you in real time. So take your time with the essay. As long as someone proofreads it, it's going to be just fine. We do have optional essays as well, but when we say optional, we really mean optional. And then you can go ahead and send letters of recommendation from your core teachers as well. They're not required, but if you're a little bit worried about your grades or if there's something that you want to specifically address, I think letters of recommendation are a great thing to include. We have 3 different ways to apply. We are on the Common Application. So if you are applying to 2 or more Common Application schools, that's probably going to be your best bet because it's going to save you time. We're also on the Coalition app. And then we do have our own Oregon application as well, but we do not preference one method over the other. So if you're sitting there thinking like, ooh, I really want to impress Sarah, I'm going to apply on the Oregon application, makes no difference to us whatsoever. What does make a difference is making those deadlines. So our early action deadline is coming up November 1st. I can't believe it's going to be November one day soon. When did that happen? If you apply by that date, you will have an answer from us probably before holiday break. Our regular decision deadline is January 15th. And as long as you have all of your material into us by February 15th, you will receive full consideration for both admission and scholarship. The one caveat is no matter what, if you apply by May 1st, you need to call me, email me, text me, send me a postcard in the mail and say, yes, Sarah, I'm coming to Oregon, or no, Sarah, I found a school that's a better fit for me. Either way, you do have to let us know, but I will be thrilled to hear from you no matter what. If any of you out there are thinking about attending a community college and transferring in credit, please let me know and we can chat through some transfer requirements and what those deadlines look like. But we are happy to work with you through that process as well. So great. I want to go to Oregon. I know I'm going to be admitted. What does the scholarship program look like? How do I afford it? We want to work with every family individually to make sure we are an affordable option. And you can read more about our scholarships and financial aid at financialaid.uoregon.edu. After you are admitted to the university, you're going to gain access to our scholarship portal, which in addition to our regular university scholarships, will give you access to different departmental scholarship information as well. And what I will say is the tuition rate that you pay your freshman year is locked in for 5 years. So let's say you are doing one of our direct entry programs that's a 5-year program and you're worried, you know, is my tuition going to be jacked up my final year? Absolutely not. Let's say it takes you a little bit longer to graduate. Is my tuition going to be, raised my senior year or my 5th year? Absolutely not. We do lock in that rate for 5 years. If you have questions or you'd like to set up an interview or a time to chat one-on-one, I encourage you to shoot me an email or give me a call, send me a text and let me know what I can do to help. And then finally, the best way to get on our mailing list to make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date information from the university is to visit admissions.uoregon.edu/request. to make sure, again, you're getting invitations to special events we have coming up when we are going to be available for on-campus visits and tours and things like that. So please sign up if you have not done so already. And now I'm going to turn it over to Charlie.
Thanks, Sarah. Share my screen and get going. We'll see if it loads. 1 second. There we go.
Technology. I spent my morning fighting with technology.
I know, right? Let me know. Is that working for you? Awesome. Cool. Everyone, once again, my name's Charlie. I work in the U of O's Lundquist College of Business, and I'm here. I know that there are lots of areas of study at the University of Oregon, lots of colleges, schools, majors, and minors to choose from. Business is the most popular major at the University of Oregon, so I'm here to share a little bit about it since a lot of students are interested, whether it's a full major or one of our minors as well. What we have for academic programs is 2 majors. As Sarah mentioned, we have business, you might have guessed, but also our accounting major. So the accounting major at the University of Oregon is very CPA exam focused. Anyone that wants to be an accountant in really any state or country, we can help with that. We have a faculty mentor who's our designated CPA mentor for students. She'll help students map out exactly where they want to become an accountant and work towards that through the U of O's major requirements. The little 3+1 icon there is what notes that this is one of the areas where if you do have a lot of credits coming in from high school, from AP or IB exams, or other community college credits, things like that, if you're enrolled in community college while you're in high school, depending on how many classes you have coming in or which classes you might have earned credit for in high school, we can sometimes advise students to finish the undergraduate program in just 3 years, which opens up space for the master's program in that 4th year. So an option to consider if and when you decide you want to be an accountant and come to campus with some incoming credits. Get in touch with me or any other academic advisor on campus, and we can help map out your progression plan once you get to campus. I'll come back to accounting in a little bit when I talked about clubs and organizations in the College of Business. Our second major has a bunch of different concentrations, some more classic ones like marketing, apply to a lot of different areas within the industry. Finance is another area where we do have a master's program, the Master of Science in Finance. So that's one of our second 3+1 program that you could opt into if you're interested in a career in finance or accounting. Some of the other areas that we have are operations and business analytics. If you're thinking about logistics or how to move product around the globe, I got to travel to San Francisco last December with our business honors cohort, and we went to Gap Inc. in San Francisco, and they talked about how, well, they showed us kind of their control room, which is really cool because I didn't know that there was so much data and analytics involved in a retail company. But they showed us where if they've got 3 huge containers coming across the ocean of just a new kind of sock that they're about to send into the stores, they can actually take an inventory, route a couple of them to maybe Oakland on the other side of the bay, and then one of them over to San Francisco to do a launch of that new product, and then send the rest out throughout the rest of the country. So that's the type of stuff, a lot more to it, but that's the type of stuff that these students might be interested in. Entrepreneurship is kind of twofold. There's entrepreneurship where a lot of students have an interest in creating their own company, running their own company. Kate Harmon, who directs the program, also focuses on entrepreneurship, she calls it, is where most students will graduate from college. After the U of L, they'll go into a pre-existing company, get a lot of experience, and maybe after innovating an existing company from within once or twice, then they have the experience and the resources to leave and start their own company. So she focuses on starting your own, running your own, but also making changes from within. The entrepreneurship faculty and students are also the designated extension from the College of Business to our new science research facility. So they will help the Knight campus for accelerating scientific impact when they develop new products, research, whatever it is. The entrepreneurship students and faculty help them get that out of the university atmosphere and into the real world a little bit faster than most universities might be able to do. We get a lot of attention for sports business, which takes all these other finance, operations, business analytics, entrepreneurship, any of those, including accounting, and applies it to one specific industry. So if you know that you want to work in the sports industry, whether that's a large retail company or for a sports team, they all have financial analysts and accountants or marketing folks. This is the one concentration that takes all of those areas and applies it to the one industry, which we have a very long history and specialization with. Clubs and organizations, there's a lot of them in the College of Business, and the reason I bring them up is because they're really good at getting students out of the classroom and into industry, either by bringing recruiters and alumni to campus or getting students out and off campus in a world where we're able to travel around and visit these different companies. So regardless of which one you're in, they're all really good at doing that. It's just that they each have their own either specific job function that they might be looking at, or perhaps target group of students who belong to them. One example is Beta Alpha Psi is the accounting student club where they prepare students for the job search process from the very beginning. So they're really good at getting the recruiters into the classroom, but we even did things like go off site and visit with the head of Apple's tax division to talk about what it's like to work in a tax division at a huge company. And he didn't even go to the U of O, but is just a friend of the program because he knows our students and professors after many years of working with them. We also have a lot of other experiential learning opportunities where you can perhaps run an investment fund in the University of Oregon investment group, do real world consulting and travel around the country to consult for different businesses, or join us in our academic residential community if you want to live with other like-minded students. We also have a departmental honors program, which Sarah talked about, the Honors College and its research focus. Our honors program can be done instead of or in addition to the Honors College. It's not a research-based program. Ours is experiential learning based. So students take their upper division core business classes together as a cohort in the honors program, either instead of or in addition to the research-based university-wide honors program. A lot of the academic areas I mentioned before as far as majors are also offered in a minor. So that's the part where it could apply to anyone, even if you're not particularly interested in majoring in business. A lot of students might at least add our minor for some practicality and getting some industry exposure in whatever they're interested in. Really quickly, we also have our own student support services for academic advising. That's all of us pictured there. We have our own career center just for business and accounting students. So anyone taking our classes can seek help for academic advising, student support services, and career services. This fall, we have a new career readiness requirement. So all business students starting this fall will be required to have some kind of, whether it's internship, work experience, the classic ones, or any other type of career preparation before they can graduate. We have our own tutoring services and a lot of departmental scholarships. So a lot of different academic units, not just the College of Business, have their own scholarship funds and perhaps departmental honors programs. We do have a few different paths to admission. We're not the type of business school that pits students against each other for admission to our major. So once you start at the U of O, you're really just working on the lower division pre-business requirements and maintaining a 3.0 GPA or higher, and then you're guaranteed admission to the major. Some first year students are considered automatically. So if you mark business or accounting on your application, then you're automatically considered for direct admission based on GPA, test scores, and a few other factors. So we typically try to admit, depending on the year, the top third or so of the class directly into the major. The main benefits of that are that once you've got all these supporting courses and core classes done, you don't have to apply for admission to the business major. You're able to start those whenever, so it does create some flexibility as well. Whether you are pre-business or not, if you are interested in our major, take a quick screenshot of these, and I can also paste the link where you can find them online, because those would be helpful. Some of those would be helpful classes to get done in high school if you have the opportunity to through dual enrollment programs or AP and IB exams. Keep in touch. I'll throw my contact info in the chat as well, and then I'm here for questions. But really anything business related in the future, feel free to reach out to me, even if it's directly or through Sarah. Thanks, Sarah.
With that, let's open it up to some general questions. Do we have one in the chat right now? Do we have a jazz band program? Yep, we sure do. Within our School of Music and Dance, we have a jazz studies major. We also have a number of bands and ensembles. And also, whenever I'm in Eugene, I try to go to different restaurants, and more often than not, there will be a jazz trio, or there will be students playing in different restaurants, which I love. It just makes me so happy. What else are y'all curious about? We kind of went through some quick and dirty information. Adonis, what did we miss? What did we leave out?
Well, I mean, I would be interested to find out what are you all into outside of the academics? So what are your main interest in finding out about the University of Oregon? We have some chats going on. How will they be COVID situation? Well, that's a great question. Our university did decide to go virtual this year to help minimize the COVID curve. So freshmen were still allowed to come to campus And for the most part, everybody, with the exception of a few students that would have to go to take those laboratory science classes, they will be operating from a remote basis. Even within the residential facilities, they are monitoring the safety practices over there. So making sure that students are maintaining safe distances, large gatherings are prohibited. Also, face masks are a requirement if you're walking around on campus as well too. But that's just for this year. You were talking about next year. Unfortunately, that's, to come, but we are actively monitoring the situation. So we don't know what next year is going to look like. We can only go off of the current situations that we're dealing with. But great question, though.
One of the nice things about Oregon is we are on quarters. So typically students attend fall, winter, and spring quarter or term, and then an optional summer term as well. And so along with the Oregon Health Authority and the governor of Oregon, we are working very closely to determine if we might be able to open up for in-person courses this winter, if it is safe. And if not this winter, then this spring or perhaps this summer. But I can guarantee you that really smart people with access to great amounts of data are looking at how we can make sure that our students, faculty, staff, and citizens of Oregon are as safe as possible. And we're doing all we can to make sure that we're still creating really engaging educational experiences for students through this whole crisis. So I've been really impressed with how the university has worked through the past, oh my gosh, how many months even has it been through this whole process? How cold does it get in Oregon? Charlie, you live in Eugene, so you want to talk about the weather?
Absolutely. I currently live in Eugene and I grew up in the Portland area, so I'm pretty familiar with the west side of the Cascade Mountains. It doesn't get too cold as far as, well, especially if we're talking Illinois cold. So like Sarah mentioned, not exactly that cold. We don't usually get a lot of snow. Maybe once every, 5-10 years, we might get a huge snow or ice storm or something like that. But really, if there's a dusting of snow on the ground, it's like everything shuts down. We'll have snow days because nobody knows how to drive in it or anything. So we all just kind of hang out in the snow. We don't get a lot of it here in the valley, though. We do have the Pacific Mountain Range to the west of us and the Cascade Range to the east of us. So it's really easy to get out of the valley and get into the snow if you wanted to. We do also live in a rainforest. It's a temperate one, not a tropical one. So there is a rainy season here in the winter, anywhere in the Willamette Valley from really Eugene on up to Portland. Wintertime is a good time to stay in the library, take some classes, or learn to get outside in the rain. And then as a result, in the spring, summer, and fall, we have glorious, beautiful, typically sunny weather. So it's not going to get that cold, but you should have a good waterproof jacket.
And an umbrella, maybe some wellies. Yeah. Do we have a forensic psychology major? We do have forensic psychology programs, and depending on where you want to go after graduation, we absolutely have the supports to get you there. Question from Southern
Also,
College Prep.
talking in addition to the psychology program, if you want to have a meaningful career in psychology, you have to go past the bachelor's degree. So we do offer all the way up to the PhD in psychology on campus. So as Sarah was mentioning, regardless of the area that you are interested in, we actually have a nationally ranked program and world-class faculty that will get you transitioned into the area that you're interested in pursuing. So yes, we have the undergraduate programs as well as the advanced degrees available for you on campus. And you're talking about all types of clinical hours, research opportunities galore available for you.
And we have a question about retention rates for all students and students of color, if there is a difference, special supports for students from traditionally underrepresented groups. So what I will say about that is we are ranked one of the top public institutions for graduation rate as it relates to underrepresented students. We are also a top LGBTQ friendly college or university. I got that question as well. We really pride ourselves on providing academic support for all students from day one. Charlie talked a little bit about the academic advising program specifically within the College of Business, but Tyson Hall is where you're going to find all of our academic advisors who you will meet with on a regular basis. Before you begin at UO, you have an academic advisor working with you to pick the classes that you need, not just to graduate, but to graduate with a major, and not just to graduate with a major, but to actually go off and figure out what it is that you want to do. So we really are focused not just on getting you through college, but creating the opportunity for you to figure out what comes next, whether that's graduate school, medical school, law school, or into your first career. We are not the type of institution that's just trying to get you out the door. We're the type of institution that's trying to support you for 4 years so you can really reach your dreams, so you can figure out exactly what comes next.
Can I add a little bit to that, Sarah?
Oh, please do, yeah.
I'll say working specifically in the College of Business, having spent a few years in an academic unit, I think the U of O and a lot of universities can be somewhat slow to make change happen. Sometimes change happens really fast and we're like, well, what is this new program? What's going on? But I've started just as of last month on the College of Business diversity committee, and I think in part because change has been historically slow to happen sometimes at the U of O or in the College of Business, but also in part because of current events. I am really excited to be with that committee for at least the next year because I think the faculty and staff at least the College of Business and probably throughout the rest of the university as well, just business is my area, I think are really action oriented as far as making sure that we are a good place that is representative of our student body. So I think that we're excited to actually enact some good changes. We'll see what ends up happening this year, but I think that it is at the forefront of a lot of people's minds in the academic side to the university. So just wanted to back up what you're saying, that it does exist at the academic side of the university. Once you get to campus too.
Had a question about why do most students choose this college, or what leads students to the University of Oregon? I get that question a lot, and that's a great question. I don't know if when you all came along to join the conversation, but I'm based in Texas. The thing that I love the most about the University of Oregon is the completeness of the institution. And that comes in 3 particular folds. So you're talking about world-class academics. The University of Oregon is, one of the top 2% of universities in the world. Just on campus alone, we have, a variety of programs that fall in the top 20 of their respective programs all across the board. So world-class faculty, world-class academics and programs available for you at the University of Oregon. So of course, that is the most important thing that you go to college for. And we have those options available for you. Umbrella number 2, you're talking about the championship level athletics as well. Not saying that you're going to participate in a Division I sport, but I'm a huge believer that you have to have some type of balance between academics and social life. And that's what Oregon has to offer. I mentioned earlier that I'm based in Texas, and in Texas, we believe in football. And that's really the only sport. But I counter that by telling students, okay, well, if you are a fan of football, you have 6 home games, 6 away games. So you're already dealing with a condensed athletic season. But yes, at Oregon, we do play football, but it's also track and field. It's also men's basketball. It's also women's basketball. It's softball. It's volleyball. All of those teams are usually nationally ranked teams. So that gives you that opportunity from an annual basis to be a fan of sport at the University of Oregon instead of just that one condensed football or, hockey or whatever it is that you're into season. But also you're talking about, well, the third umbrella is you're talking about the uniqueness of the setting, being an hour away from the coast, being an hour away from the mountains. The city of Eugene is pretty eclectic. All of the arts stuff, whatever it is that you're into in the greater Chicago area, you can still do it in Eugene just without the headache headaches of traffic. And also you're talking about proximity to other major cities as well too. So a 2-hour drive, you'll be in Portland. A 5-hour drive, you'll be in Seattle. About an 8-hour drive to the north. If you have an extended break, you can be in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. 8-hour drive to the south, you'll be in San Francisco. So it gives you that rare advantage to take care or to explore all that the region has to offer. And it's kind of hard to find that in one particular setting at some of the other institutions that you'll be considering. So yes, a lot of great things that's going on at the University of Oregon, but all of that meshed together, it really makes for a pretty unique experience and not a bad place to spend 4 years of your life.
Another great question. A student wasn't able to join us because we didn't have the major that they were looking for, which is real estate and psychology. So how would we respond to a student who is looking to study real estate and also pair that with psychology? I would really encourage that student to take a look at the Lundquist College of Business. I imagine Charlie's worked with quite a few students over the years that are looking to go into real estate in one way or another. Charlie, do you want to address that?
Yeah, that's one of the common areas is real estate. We have some survey of real estate classes at both the upper division and the lower division. So the freshman, sophomore, and then the junior, senior level classes. It's not a full concentration or a minor. I kind of wish it was, but there are ways to get into it and then also break into it professionally through some of our concentrations and our clubs and organizations. So just because it's not like one of the full-on majors that you can choose on your application doesn't mean that you can't do real estate. Psychology is very common. There's 2 main psychology classes, and something I like about that department at the U of O is that it actually kind of crosses between the social science and the natural science requirements, which also helps psychology to get a lot of research funding that it perhaps wouldn't get if it didn't exist as a natural science. So if that's another area, business oftentimes has to do with human behavior. So we do teach that kind of stuff in the College of Business and have a few people on faculty who have their doctoral degrees actually in psychology instead of in business because they're really helpful to us that way. So anyway, in short, yes, you can. We always say that you don't usually do business in business. You usually do business in something outside of business, which is why we have a non-business requirement to get some exposure in things that are outside the College of Business as well. Because maybe you want to be a financial analyst in real estate or in entertainment or in athletics. So then you need to get some exposure to those areas too. Sorry, long.
The only other thing, no, that was a great answer. The only other thing I'll tack onto that is Adonis did mention that we do have through a PhD in psychology. And then for real estate, if your student is looking to come back to Illinois, you actually don't need any degree to be a real estate agent in Illinois. The classes are very straightforward. I think it's a 6-month program as both the daughter and sister of real estate agents. So a note for my Illinois folks. I think there was a question Adonis wanted to answer live. And he's on mute.
Give me just 1 second. I was responding to
oh, no problem. You know
yeah,
what?
300 different study abroad programs on campus. About 1/4 of our students actually study abroad. So it is pretty popular on campus. 2 pre-freshman study abroad programs. A lot of our students actually participate in multiple study abroad. So yeah, studying abroad is actually more popular than Greek life on campus at the University of Oregon. But the question is from Robert. Thank you for your question. What is the greatest area of improvement that Oregon needs to work on addressing? It's diversity, if you ask me, especially in particular people of color. Diversity and bringing in the scholarships to meaningful scholarships to attract and retain the people of color on campus. But as Charlie was mentioning earlier, there are some things in works to address the diversity issues that are going on in campus. But that's just my perspective. Yeah, we can do a lot more. The campus itself is more diverse than the state of Oregon. So Oregon is, we have those necessary steps in place to address the diversity issues, but we're still kind of playing catch up to say an area like Chicago that has a large, people of color or, underrepresented population in the area by trade.
There are a few questions that I apologize we didn't get a chance to get through in our live Q&A. Is here from StriveScan to cut us off. So thank you so much for joining us. We will shoot you emails to all of the questions that we didn't get a chance to cover today.
Absolutely. Thank you guys all for coming. You will be getting a survey after this, and Oregon will also get all of your information. So if you guys have any extra questions for them, please reach out to them. They're great, and they will be able to answer all of the questions that you have to see that Oregon may or may not be the place for you. Recordings of the session will also be available on the IACAC website. And sign up for more sessions, and please do that survey for us. Y'all have a really great day. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.